to call this meeting of the Oskaloosa City Council to order. Today is Monday, August 5th, 2019. We start with the invocation by Pastor Bruce Wittern, Central United Methodist Church.
Shall we pray together? Gracious God, we give you thanks for this community, for the privilege of having a democratic form of government. Thank you for the fine women and men who've been elected and are willing to serve. Grant them wisdom and understanding to rightly govern the city. Guide them in decisions that they make. Lord, we'd ask that you'd watch over us as we live in a world in which tragedies strike and innocent lives are lost. Thank you for demonstrations of compassion, even in the face of evil, as many people in El Paso quickly responded to donate blood. Thank you for the police, firefighters, medical personnel, and citizens in Ohio, Texas, Oskaloosa, and around the globe who are ready to help people in need. Thank you for the blessings that are ours in this wonderful community. Thank you for the opportunities we have to live as people of faith, love, and compassion, and to inspire those around us to use the gifts and talents entrusted to them. Thank you for the businesses, large and small, that fulfill their place in meeting needs here and beyond. Thank you for our schools, our administrators, teachers, support staff, as students will soon be returning to classrooms in the coming weeks. Be present here this evening with our mayor and council in their service to Oskaloosa. And Lord, we want to conclude with a prayer of St. Francis and invite those who are present, if you know it, to pray it with me. Lord, make me an instrument of your peace. Where there is hatred, let me sow love. Where there is injury, pardon. Where there is doubt, faith. Where there is despair, hope. Where there is darkness, light. And where there is sadness, joy. O divine Master, grant that I may not so much seek to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love. For it is in giving that we receive, and it is in pardoning that we are pardoned, and it's in dying that we are born to eternal life. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Thank you, Pastor. Would you join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Burnett.
Here.
Caligari.
Here.
Drost.
Here.
Moore. Addison. Here. Walling.
Here.
Gates.
Okay, thank you. Next item up on our agenda is the opportunity for community comments. This item is reserved to receive comments from the community for concerns whether or not they're included on the current agenda. The community is encouraged to come and speak before the mayor and city council, asked to keep statements brief, time limited to no more than 3 minutes. Any questions are to be asked of the city staff, the council members, or the mayor prior to speaking to the full council, so concerns can be properly researched and answered away from the meeting. Comments are to be directed to the mayor and city council only. Is there anyone who would like to speak tonight? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on. Next item is the consent agenda. These are items that are considered routine by the city council. They're enacted by one motion. If there is some discussion desired, that item can be removed, discussed separately, and then approved in a separate motion. The only one I wanted to draw attention to has to do with item K, where typically I spend some time reading out all of the vacancies that we have on various boards and commissions. Now that's a part of the consent agenda, which was a big surprise to me.
I guess we won't be doing that again.
Oh, okay.
It's good advertising.
Because I was wondering if there had been a new interpretation that we didn't have to read that out, but maybe we do.
There's nothing that requires us to read it. We just did
Okay.
that as additional
I think it's good
information.
advertising.
Okay, so anyway, item K talks about we have one vacancy open on the Airport Commission for a term ending on December 31 of 2021. The Board of Adjustment, we have a vacancy for a term ending in December 31st of 2020. Building Code Board of Appeals, there's one vacancy for an ex officio member. Historic Preservation Commission, we have a vacancy for an alternate member. It's a 3-year term. And finally, the Oskaloosa Housing Trust Fund. We have one at-large vacancy for a term ending on January 31st of 2020, and also one at-large vacancy for a term ending on January 31st of 2021. With that, do we have a motion supporting the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Roll call, please.
Burnett,
Yes.
Calgery,
Yes.
Ross,
Yes.
Coniston,
Yes.
Walling,
Yes.
Okay, that passes. Gets us into the regular agenda. Item 6A is to consider a resolution approving a contract with Garden and Associates for engineering services. These are related to the pavement improvements on South 7th Street and to the Meadow Creek subdivision. City of Oskaloosa wants to get into the professional services agreement with Garden and Associates. For South 7th Street between 9th Avenue and 15th Avenue, and also the public streets in the Meadow Creek subdivision, and that includes Glendale Road, Caldwell Place, and McMullen Drive. Garden and Associates is proposing a contract for an amount not to exceed $242,600 to complete the engineering design for the above-mentioned projects. Of this total amount of $242,600, $114,000 is for services associated with the South 7th Street project, and $128,600 is for services associated with the Meadow Creek subdivision. This contract is only for assisting with design, bid, and easements. Inspection services for a construction phase would require a separate contract with Garden and Associates. Do we have a motion supporting this resolution?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, any discussion?
I got a real quick question. Does that include the South 7th Street all the way down to 15th?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Just
Yeah.
to do a quick overview, Mayor and Council, this is an item that we discussed during the budget meeting held earlier in the year, and there was quite a bit of debate about where do you, and where does the community invest for future roads. We don't have enough money necessarily allocated to do both of them in their full capacity, so all of Meadow Creek and all of 7th. And so the idea was, let's try to get South 7th designed. Trying to get there, sorry about that. And so currently, this section of road, this is 9th, that's 7th, this is the Oski Foods plant. The new roadway, the most recent pavement improvements were there, and they kind of terminate here, and then the road's a disaster, everything south.
Look at all those cars.
And we're just going to ignore that for now. It's a different topic. So the idea was, well, if we're going to look at this road, clearly we could either do this in segments, and that's kind of what we talked about. What type of segmentation would we do of the road? That's to be determined, but we're looking at the entire roadway because we do know there's a lot of traffic that flows here because of the bus barn that was constructed, and then just in general, there's just a lot of traffic on South 7 because it's a good north-south road from A Avenue to 15th. So there's that section, so we're going to design that. The other part was to get to Meadow Creek, which the mayor has been requesting for 10 years, if not longer. But while he's been on council, he's asked that the council consider this. Clearly not a lot of traffic here. That's been why it's been pushed back on the funding plan, or he wasn't even on the plan at some point, because other roads took precedent just because of the amount of use. But again, much like South 7th, the road is obliterated and is not great. It's good for speed control, but bad on the vehicles. So we will design this as well. We're looking at the entire area, but again, the likely improvements will be done in segments just because of the funding. Unless council says, hey, we would like to go out and bond, but we had a financing scenario, and with the addition of Lacey Complex Road, so Kentfield Drive and Stadium Drive, those were bumped up in our plan. And so our former financing plan it needs to be adjusted. So if we were to bond for one or both of these projects, the tax rate in this community would go up quite a bit, and people wouldn't be very pleased with at least my presentation of that. But we'll present it to you and see what you think. The road will take, again, anywhere from 6 months to 12 months to get designed, and construction would occur after that. So the decision that will need to be made by the council later this year and the beginning of next is how do we finance the road improvements, and then which one or ones Would we do first or second? So that's the fun thing. So that's a quick brief on that, as well as a discussion about our finances.
Okay. Other comments or questions from council? Roll call, please.
Calgery,
Yes.
Dross,
Yes.
Addison,
Yes.
Walling,
Yes.
Burnett,
Yes. Okay. Item B, this is actually the end of the items for the agenda. City council members, anything you would like to report on activities, events, or just note for the public? Mr. Drost.
I think going back to the consent agenda, when you brought up the board vacancies, the thing that hit me was a number of these board seats are for partial terms. And I can speak from my experience sitting here on the council now for the last year, the seat that I was appointed to. This has been a great educational opportunity for me and a way to understand city government better. And if there's anybody watching or in the crowd who's interested in getting involved, this would be a good way to get your feet wet and get a taste of it. So,
Joe?
We had a meeting Thursday, Oskaloosa Housing Trust Fund, and I believe the committee, we approved 2 demos, those 2 houses. If you could tell, they don't look like a house anymore, but anyways, so we did 2 of those. I forget what streets those are on, so we're pretty bad shape.
Yeah, but work continues.
Yep.
Okay. Which is a great plug for what Councilman Drost was talking about, that if you are a person who believes that the city should be beautified somewhat through getting rid of old houses that are no longer maintained, this is the first step, as it shows up with the Housing Trust Fund a lot of times.
Nothing tonight.
Okay.
Well, first I got a story, then I got 2 questions, and I'll make it quick.
Didn't take long?
But I had a resident of Oskaloosa come, and I've been trying to sell my fishing boat for 2 years. And he didn't identify who it was, I knew him. He says, well, I'm interested in your boat. So he shows up, he's not interested in my boat. What he wanted to do was thank me and the council, and I told him, well, thank staff for how clean the town is getting. Next, I had a neighbor call and wanted to know the legal rules on farm animals in town. And I want this clarified later. I'm just asking. What I read is it's like you can have them if they don't cause a problem. But if I can get a better later, David, you don't need to do it tonight.
No, and I can certainly do that. Obviously, there are provisions in the code relative to that very short thumbnail sketch. I'm working from memory here essentially.
Yeah, it's
You're not
okay.
keeping things for profit, you can't be selling things, but that's
So
an
if you can give me an
oversimplification.
email or just make sure I'm reading it right, that'd be great.
Sure, I can get that too.
And then, this is my own question. Who's responsible for wild animals in the city, dead or alive?
It's like a deer dies or something.
Well, or if you got a problem
Yeah.
with a live one. I just,
I think a lot of times the animal control officer from the shelter will go out. They get a lot of calls, and I think Ben will confirm too. I think periodically the police even get calls about bats, not to suggest for the in the audience to do that. But
Only for emergencies.
if that's true, we may need to retell the animal control people that they're supposed to do that.
And there, in my experience, Terry's generally pretty good about doing that if
Well,
they get word of it.
Were
But
they supposed to do it, or are they doing it out of the kindness of their heart?
I think, and I suspect they're doing it out of the kindness of their heart. I'm not aware of anything
okay.
requires them to do so.
Anyway,
As
somebody's
far-
got to do
As
it.
far as roadkill, that's another wonderful duty of the Public Works Department, which
My personal opinion, they'd be a lot better to handle it than asking a fireman or a policeman to go pick up a dead coon on somebody's porch. They've got that nice truck we bought them or helped buy them, and they can go get that. And so that's my 2 cents. Thank you very much.
Okay. Steve?
I don't know a lot of stories, I'm good, so.
Tell us about the 5:30 walk, oh no.
I do like your story, though. That was a good
Yeah,
story.
That was a great story.
Thank you.
I can't beat that either. So, okay, I've got nothing to add. The next item up is an opportunity to consider a closed session under Iowa Code Section 21.5.1.c to discuss strategy with legal counsel on a matter that is presently in litigation or in which litigation is imminent, where disclosure would be likely to prejudice or disadvantage the city's position. Do we have a motion to go into closed session?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Roll call, please.
Dross,
Yes.
Addison,
Yes.
Walling,
Yes.
Burnett,
Yes.
Calgery,
Yes.
Okay, that passes. We're going to go into closed session, so.
Mr. Mayor, if we could.
That's right.
Yeah, I think once again, we just need to add that language. Acting pursuant to the requirements of Iowa Public Information Board, I would state and indicate the closed session to follow is to discuss legal strategy in a pending matter with counsel and David Dixon, city attorney, counsel for the city of Oskaloosa, Iowa, acting pursuant to the contract existing between the parties, which simply the Public Information Board is required that we announce in such situations.
Okay, so noted. So we'll go into closed session now. Thank you, everyone.
Burnett,
Yes.
Calgery,
Yes.
Dross,
Yes.
Addison,
Yes.
Okay, and that passes. That being the last part of our meeting tonight, we have a motion for adjournment.
Moved.
Second.
Okay? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned.